Hi, I'm Old Sneelock. Welcome to another episode of Old Sneelock's Workshop. I've managed to glue together the leg pieces. Now I'm going to mount them on the toolbox. To make that easier, I've upended it onto this stool. That'll give me a nice place to work on it. Let's get started. Now, before I left for Louisiana, I glued these together. Now that's good. They didn't manage to glue themselves to the bench. Okay, going to glue the base onto the toolbox, but before I do that, I'm going to dry fit the clamps. You always want to do that so that you've got them right there handy. Once you got the glue on and the glue's starting to set, you don't want to go looking for a clamp. You want to make sure you got them all there, ready to use. You may be wondering why I have so many of these clamps. Every time I drove by Harbor Freight, I'd take the 20% discount coupon and buy one of these clamps, or something else that I needed. And at the same time, when you had the 20% discount coupon, you had a one free item. Started out, they were handing out these 3.5-inch mini flashlights. I got a ton of them. They're all hanging on pegs back there on the wall. Then they started selling these. Well, actually this was a giveaway. I really like these. I use them for all kinds of things. Started out with these individual LEDs in them. Really bright. Yeah, it'll overcome the camera and kind of white it out. Well, after a while they stopped giving these away and they started giving away this one. Not quite as bright, but still works pretty good. Then they started giving away these. Now, I have a couple of these, so I leave these in the pack because in the blister pack they're all sealed up. They don't get dirty. The batteries aren't in the headlights, so they're just sitting there. If I need one, I'll get it out of the blister pack. I've got one hanging over here on the wall that I use that's an older style. For a while there, they were giving away tape measures. I have a box full of these too. Now, some of you may not remember why I decided to put the risers on underneath the casters. Well, the reason for this is so that I raise the toolbox up. I don't do so good on the bending over anymore. Bad back. So raising it up another 3.5 inches and then setting it on top of the casters, which is another 3.5 inches, gets it up about 7 inches off the floor. I can reach down and touch the bottom of the toolbox that way without having to do a whole lot of cranking to get myself down that far. Now the casters, I got to make it so it moves around the floor easier. And I'll have fixed on one end and swivel on the other. That way you can steer the toolbox around. If you ever have anything and you put four swivel casters on it, sounds like a good idea, but it won't track straight no matter what you do. With 2 fixed casters normally on the narrow end, you can drive it like a cart and just make it go where you want it to. You always want to have the fixed casters in the front. That way you have control of the back and it's easier to move it side to side when you're shoving it down through a tight spot. Yeah, I used to build a lot of carts for people and they always had this crazy idea that they wanted to have the casters in the front because that's how a car steers, right? Now think of it more like a fork truck. Fork trucks have the steering wheels in the back. Turn a lot sharper, a lot easier, get into tighter spots. That's how you want to shove your cart down through a building. Okay, so I'm going to glue these down and clamp them, and then they'll sit overnight. I always try and do these jobs when I have an easy break point to work from. Make sure I knock all the dust off. I'm going to set the casters in about 1/2 inch from the end of the box. No other reason than I think it looks good. And by having the clamps preset, I can use them fairly easily and lock it down. Now all they have to do is hold it in position. I see a lot of guys saying, well, these clamps aren't strong enough. If you're designing the joint so that you've got to pull it together with a huge amount of force, you're not doing a good job designing your joint. Well, everything's all set up. All I have to do now is not monkey with it for a while. So take my hands off and walk away. If you have any suggestions for a new video, questions about today's video, or any of the other videos on the channel, just drop a note in the comments. You know I read them all. Thanks for watching.